Good morning. I hope that you are doing well this morning, enjoying your favorite cup of coffee, your favorite cup of tea, or depending on when you are watching this video, maybe you've already transitioned over to water. Let's talk about today's video topic, and it's all around change. There are big changes in the weather because it is hot. It's like someone flipped a switch. We were mild. It was an amazing summer, even here in the South, but someone flipped that switch and now it is hot. And that's exactly, we're not talking about the hot weather, but we're talking about change. And I am one to talk about change because I hate change. If you think about my personality and the way I run things, I document repeatable processes. I put them into a schedule so I don't have to make the micro decisions. I know exactly how to show up and when to show up to get the job done and do it in a really efficient time. I do it in efficient time. And anything that disrupts that is change. So, a couple of things I want to talk about when it does come to change, and this can be in business and in life. I feel like I've gone through a lot of changes here, I would say in the past 12, 18 months, specifically around all four children now either two have graduated from college and are living on their own, and two are still in college. That's a lot of change, especially since we homeschooled for 15 years and everybody was under the same roof. So there wasn't a lot of change. I said it was really easy to manage when everybody was in the house versus them being all over the place. And so I think, if anything, that has taught me to kind of go with the flow and be present for them when they need me and just enjoy them, enjoy the heck out of them when they are home, especially when they're all home together. I absolutely love that time. But I think that if we identify like what is kind of freaking us out about the change, why are we so resistant to the change, or kind of our gut reaction to that? If it's the case where you're not wanting to start over, I totally identify with that. Like that can feel exhausting, but here's the thing. You never, ever, ever have to start from scratch, right? Because you've already done it. For me, I've always taken the best parts and picked up and kept moving. It really kind of helps me in framing, when it comes to change. Like it's not so hard because I'm taking the best parts that are good for my customer and the best parts that are good for me. And that type of change has always led to a really good change, because how you show up, how, I guess that change or that experience is impacting you, you will show up in a better way for your customer. Another thing when it comes to change is to not, what you call, throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't know if you've heard that saying before. I know it's like an old saying, but when we make too many changes, then we really can't pinpoint like what was working and what was not working and why we changed the one thing and ultimately changed everything, right? So my suggestion is to make one tiny little tweak. Victor, my ads coach, will talk about, oh, I think I want to do this and this and this. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's change this, put it out in the world, and see how your customer reacts to that. Next, we can go to the next change you want to make, put it out in the world, see how your customer reacts, read the data, et cetera, et cetera. So I would recommend that you make tiny changes and not big, huge, overwhelming changes. It's a lot of work for you and typically keeps you stuck, and it can be really confusing to your customer. I think that there is definite your speed to implementation. Like I think that's important. And as a small business owner, we get that luxury. Like we can move really, really quickly. What I think that a lot of gurus don't talk about is future impact and thinking down the road a little bit. How is this going to impact my business? How is this going to impact my customer? How is this going to impact my day to day? What seems like a good idea today, like I want to look 3, 6, 9, 12 months down the road and see what this overarching change is, how that's going to impact really kind of everything, right? So the other thing is when we're talking about change, I want us to think about there has to be a reason why we want that change. Now, I also want to talk about this in terms of sabotaging, because sometimes when we focus just on one thing, we get tunnel vision, which is good, and we need to have the tunnel vision. And sometimes the changes that we want to make are because we're bored. And I often, when I go into a coaching call with Victor around my ads, around products, I'll say, all right, I'm going to ask you, am I sabotaging myself? I have now clearly been able to identify sometimes when I want to make changes is because I'm bored. On the flip side of that, I want to go back to say, you want the boring business routine. And I want to tell you why you want the boring business routine is because just like my experience with the 4 kids, 2 being off, living their lives, doing their thing, and the other 2 in college, you never know. Like, life is a box of chocolates and you never know what you are going to get. And so if your business has that boring business routine, that means you've got it down to a science. So no matter what comes your way, that business is still running in the background so that you can free up capacity to deal with and to experience whatever has been thrown your way. Make sense? So change is not a bad thing, even though I'm resistant to change. I still like to check in with myself and ask myself, all right, what is it that my end goal is? What is it that I'm really looking for? And if I'm resistant to that change, why is that? Kind of asking myself a few of those questions. Definitely making small tweaks, small tweaks, not this huge leap. And then remind yourself, like, why are we making that change? And I think always kind of pulling up previous experiences, good or bad, when you have made changes. One thing that I will say, please don't do this. Don't be thinking about a change and go into a Facebook community and ask the question, what do you think? Why would I say that? The reason being is if you're resistant to change to begin with, and you go into a group, the group could be filled or not filled with your dream customer. The person or the people who are responding could or could not be your dream customer, and really put you or kind of position you to go down a rabbit hole that they were just giving you feedback. You don't know what context, you don't know what they're bringing to the table and how much training up you would need to give them in order to really answer your question. So I really feel 2 places to go. The first and foremost is always having conversations with your customers. So someone who's pulled out a credit card, not bartered for testimonial, but someone who's pulled out their credit card and paid you. That person can give you some really honest feedback. That's a good idea. That's not a good idea. And guiding of the strategy really is a coach or a mentor that you are working with. But the key here is that if change is coming up for you, then it's a good thing. Change can be a good thing. A couple of questions to ask yourself: am I sabotaging myself because I'm bored? Or is this something that I know in the long run is going to be good? Why am I feeling the resistance to that? Make one tiny tweak instead of this really huge overarching. And the only way to know and to be sure that that change is going in the right direction is having conversations with your customers. I have conversations every single Tuesday with folks who purchase my Business Command Center. I love the questions and the clarity that it helps me help them get, and different things that I know is coming that's going to further kind of help clarity for them so they can get started so much quicker. And the inbox. So I have a system, not an inbox. I have an on-demand system for my membership, as well as Low Ticket Designer, which is a new program that I have started. And I'm in contact with my customer every single day. They are texting and they are video messaging me. And I know exactly where they are and I know exactly what they need based on the questions that they're sharing with me. So I know how powerful that is, and that is your only source that you should be going after. I know we've gone long today, so I'm going to shut, but change is like a big deal. Like change, there are lots of pieces and parts to it. So hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And if your weather is changing like mine, stay cool. Take care. We'll talk soon.